Government and partners unveiled a $58 million grant to support education nationwide. South Sudan calls for fair and increased access to finance for development in developing countries. And Governor Bolwek set foot in the state to implement the 6-month state of emergency. It is 2nd of July 2025 and we welcome you to SSBC 8 p.m. News. I am Akuchmake and I will begin with President Salva Kiir Mayardit on Wednesday returned to the country after an official visit to the United Arab Emirates. The head of state was received at Juba International Airport by the Vice President for Economic Cluster, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, and a number of cabinet ministers and other senior government officials. Let's head now to Seville, Spain, where South Sudan is calling for fair and increased access to development finance, debt relief, and greater inclusion of vulnerable countries in global decision-making processes on economic governance. South Sudan's permanent representative to the UN, Cecilia Adut-Manyok, represented President Salva Kiir at the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development once happened after 20 years. SSBC's Mathiang Joseph reports.
Good morning and welcome to everyone to this 4th International...
The International Conference on Financing for Development is an official United Nations-led event that brings together governments, financial institutions, development agencies, and civil society organizations to discuss strategies for mobilizing and managing financial resources to support sustainable development. This year's discussions are focusing on key areas, including debt sustainability and management, domestic resource mobilization, private sector engagement, climate finance and green investment, and reform of the international financial architecture to better serve developing countries. At the opening of the Spain-hosted event, attended by 23 heads of state, the United Nations Secretary General, and global finance leaders, South Sudan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Cecilia Adut-Manyok, who represented President Salva Kiir, stresses the urgent need for tailored financing solutions that reflect the realities of post-conflict countries like South Sudan. Adut highlighted the country's priority in strengthening domestic agriculture following the recent distribution of farming tractors and equipment to the states aimed at boosting the country's food production.
I'm here on behalf of His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit. Of course, challenges persist, and the UN Convention on Tax Cooperation is a welcome step in leveraging the global tax playing field. Number 2, public debt and access to consensual finance. South Sudan has maintained a cautious approach to external borrowing in the light of debt sustainability and concerns. However, consensual finances and grants remain essential to closing our infrastructure and human capital gaps.
Ambassador Adut also called for a stronger global collaboration to assist countries better identify and implement their development priorities.
Mr. President, Financing for development is not just about increasing the volume. It's about ensuring the right type of financing at the right time for the right priorities. South Sudan stands ready to work with the international partners to build resilience, inclusivity, sustainable economic system that leaves no country behind. We urge this conference to go beyond affirmation and deliver a renewed global financial compact rooted in equality, flexibility, and mutual accountability.
The conference focuses on advancing sustainable and inclusive financing strategies essential for accelerating the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. South Sudan uses the platform to spotlight its humanitarian and climate-related challenges, reaffirming its commitment to multilateral cooperation and global solidarity in pursuit of lasting peace, prosperity, and development. Reporting for SSBC News, Mathiang Joseph.
Turning our attention to education, one of South Sudan's key development partners, the Global Partnership for Education has unveiled a $58 million grant to support a government-led 4-year project aimed at transforming basic education nationwide. The project focuses on the recruitment of professional teachers and the enrollment of 2.8 million out-of-school children. Vice President for Service Cluster, Josephine Joseph Lagu, officially opened a 2-day event marking the commencement of the project. SSBC Hayuring report.
On Wednesday, the government and its partners launched a 2-day program to validate the implementation process of the $58 million education partnership with the Global Partnership for Education. The initiative aimed to enhance access to inclusive, quality education, especially for girl and marginalized communities across the country. With the start of this landmark project, UNICEF and Save the Children will serve as the joint lead implementers under the government supervision, ensuring that the program reach all intended beneficiaries, especially children most in need. Vice President and Chair for Service Delivery Cluster, Josephine Joseph Lago, reaffirmed government commitment to increasing budgetary allocated for the education sector.
However, as the Vice President for Service Cluster, and in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Planning, I will continue to strive towards ensuring the full execution of allocated budget to the education sector. And it's not just going to be allocation of a budget on paper. No, it won't. We will ensure that this allocation is translated and it reaches the school where it is needed, and to the children who are the final beneficiaries.
The Minister of General Education and Instruction, Kuyok Abul Kuyok, said the funding from GPE could provide life-saving educational opportunities for hundreds of thousands of crisis-affected girls and boys throughout the country.
Thus, this project offers a strategic opportunity to align and consolidate our collective efforts towards the effective realization of the President's order on free and compulsory education. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the program's pillars are aligned with our national priorities as outlined in General Education Sector Plan 2023-2028. 1. Promoting effective, inclusive, and gender-responsive teaching practices and curriculum implementation in pre-primary and primary schools.
The Global Partnership on Education representative, Motan Siga, called on the project milestone in providing educational access for the 2.8 million out-of-school children across South Sudan.
I think there are still more than, or at least 2.8 million children in South Sudan who are not attending school. Whatever the actual number may be, it's unacceptable that any child cannot access free, good quality, complete education.
The country director for Save the Children stresses the importance of collective effort to break down the persistent barriers that prevent many children, especially in rural and conflict-affected areas, from attending school.
Today, we are not just launching a program, we are launching hope. In every language, a child will learn, in every name they will write, in every future they will begin to share. This is $58 million from the Global Partnership for Education, made possible through the support of our board donors who time and again continue to show solidarity.
The event brought together senior government officials, development partners, representatives from civil societies, teachers, and education experts to assess the progress and long-term impact of the Global Partnership for Education initiative in the country. Reporting for SSBC News,
Still at the same event, where government appreciates development partners for their continued support to the country's education sector, especially areas of infrastructure and teachers' capacity building. We have the report.
The Minister of General Education and Instruction, in collaboration with development partners, launched the Global Partnership for Education program to support the inclusive education program and stimulate the education system in the country. The function on Wednesday brings together the Vice President and Chair of Service Cluster, Josephine Joseph Lagu, and representatives from stakeholders and development partners. Speaking at the launch program, the Deputy Minister of General Education and Instruction, Martin Takumoi, says it is imperative to fund the education sector for realizing better and quality educational outcomes in the country.
So, Your Excellency, your leadership of service cluster, indeed a good luck for us in the Ministry of Education, who can push, especially Your Excellency, our budget for education. Our partners, Your Excellency, did a lot. The major role is actually of the government of this country to give the education sufficient funding for running education.
The Deputy Chairperson of a Standing Specialized Committee of Education in the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Joyce Icha, sounds positive notes about reforms in the education sector through the Global Partnership for Education program.
It is the hope of the Parliament and especially of the Committee on General Education that this initiative transform the education system in the country and bring about positive change not only to the learners but also to the country as a whole. Secondly, as an oversight committee, we are pleased to associate and work with you, the GPE, and other education partners in ensuring that this program is a success.
Central Equatoria State Minister of Education, Sirisio Zakaria Lado, describes education as an important sector contributing effectively in the nation building.
التعليم هو واحدة من العناصر الأساسية اللي بيخليك أنت بتقدم البلد عبر التعليم. سيد نائب الرئيس، ده رسالة بتاعنا، الدولة ده محتاج كثير أكثر وأكثر للليدرشيب بتاعكم. نحن دايرين المزيد من الدعم ومزيد من إجراءات التطور في البلد.
The representative of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, Noala Esquena, says the program targets training 6,000 teachers and improving educational environment for students and pupils in schools across the country.
With this program that is being launched, there are a number of things that will be achieved. It will be training of about 6,000 teachers to improve classroom instructions. Distribution of learning materials is key to this program. And most importantly, let us all go forward, construct the bridge, which is education, and the bridge to be an avenue the kids can realize their dreams.
The launch of the Global Partnership for Education program is a constructive and positive step toward achieving the objectives of the Minister of General Education and Instruction in reforming the national educational.
And now we are going for a short break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Welcome back from that short break. Now to proceed with our news bulletin, the people of Tombra County in Western Equatoria State have welcomed renewed call for peace and stability in the region, aiming to create a conducive environment for the delivery of essential services. This comes after a meeting between the Speaker of Parliament, Jema Nunukumba, and a delegation from Tombra consisting of the National Parliamentarian and Tombra Paramount Chief. Discussions focused on strengthening collaboration to promote grassroots level social and political harmony, especially as the rainy season continues to impact the area. During the meeting, the delegation conveyed the commitment of local communities to resolving their differences through dialogue. In response, Speaker Kumba reaffirmed the government's commitment to achieving lasting peace and stability through inclusive, community-driven engagement.
The meeting focused on the situation in Tombra, the security situation. Tombra have not been living in a peaceful coexistence. So the responsibility falls on us as leaders, as politicians, and the representative of people of Tombra. Therefore, the meeting has focused very intensively to see the way out. What role, what key activity can we do, can we undertake in order to normalize security situation in Tombra?
We have seen that so many people have been displaced. The meeting has been fruitful for the purpose that all the people have to be involved to bring in peace. As we are standing here, we really sat and discussed how we can handle the issue of Tombra. Since it has been tried on grassroots approach, we know that it cannot succeed very well, but with the involvement of the politicians at the National Assembly and those who are in different parties, I'm sure peace will come in Tombra because we need to include everyone to be part.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mandes Maya Kumba, met with the visiting IGAD delegation led by Executive Secretary Dr. Waknei Gebeyu in Juba on Wednesday. The meeting focused on the current situation in the country. Minister Kumba reaffirmed government's commitment to peace in the country. Dr. Waknei emphasized on the importance of strengthening cooperation between IGAD and the government of South Sudan. A delegation from Juba County, SPLM Secretariats and SPLM Lawyer League congratulated Professor Paul Longale on his appointment as the SPLM Secretary General. During the meeting, the team briefed Professor Paul on their activities and future plans. The spokesperson of the Juba County SPLM Secretariats, Joseph Lagu Gabriel, reaffirmed their commitment to working with the SPLM Secretary General to popularize the party's vision and mission at the grassroots. The chairperson of the SPLM Lawyers League, Paul Adwok, President, and SPLM Chairman Salva Kiir Mayardit for appointing Professor Paul Longale as Secretary General at this critical time.
I hope this message finds you in good health. First and foremost, I would like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to our chairperson of SPLM and the President of the Republic of South Sudan, His Excellency General Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, for his wise decision. His awaiting leadership and vision have been instrumental in guiding our movement and our nation toward unity, equality, and progress. On behalf of Juba County SPLM Secretary and on my own behalf, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you, Comrade Professor Dr. Paul Longale Daniel, on your appointment as the SPLM Secretary General. This appointment reflects the trust and confidence bestowed on you by our able chairperson to guide SPLM party toward a prosperous future. Under your wise leadership, we are optimistic about the path ahead. We stand ready to support you in advancing the interests of our members and further strengthening our beloved party. Together, we can confront the challenges that lie ahead.
Security operatives have apprehended 623 suspect members of notorious gang group locally known as Niggers. The crackdown follows last week's gang rape on a 16-year girl at Sherkat area in Juba. This was announced during a meeting chaired by Governor Rabi Mjuk Emmanuel on Wednesday, condemning the incident. The State Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agency, Abi Brown, expresses government's commitment to continue the crackdown on criminals to stabilize security in the national capital. The minister urged parents and guardians to closely monitor their children to prevent them from involving in criminal gangs. He appealed to development partners to collaborate with the government in establishing reformatory schools and vocational training centers to aid in the rehabilitation gangs groups.
In a very intensive and comprehensive discussion of the issues pertaining to the state, we found that a serious issue which have been committed with the criminals, and we condemn it in a very high terms. The raping of 16 years old girl in Gumbo Sirikat, we condemn it as a security committee, we condemn it in a very high terms. As you can see, our security organs are participating, devoting themselves day and night in combating the crimes. The Security Committee highly congratulates you by arresting 623 neggers. These 623 neggers are our children who are working out of the law, harming their own brothers and sisters.
And now we are out for another break. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. Now, Unity State Governor distributes uniform to administrative officer, a move aimed at enhancing professionalism and civil servant welfare. As SSBC Itla Gaga reports from Bentiu, the state authorities convened a meeting to prepare for the celebration of the 14th independent anniversary on 9th July.
In a move aimed at enhancing the professionalism and improving the appearance of civil servants, the Unity State Government on Wednesday launched the official distribution of uniforms for the state administrative officers at the State Secretariat in Bentiu. Speaking during the event, Unity State Governor Rick Bintap emphasized that the initiative is part of wider efforts to improve the welfare of government staff. He described administrative officers as the heart of the government who play a crucial role in implementing laws and ensuring effective governance across the state.
أنا لما فكرت إنه نشوف لكم ملابس الفكري بتاعي جاي من ريفرنس بتاع الشغل اللي انتوا شغالين فوق هسه ده. لكن تعرف تماما انه الملابس ده ما يهوي شغل. لو جبنا لكم الملابس ما يهوي اخر شغل. ان احنا دايرين نبدا عشان نشتغل بنظام، نشتغل بقانون.
To the door, the State Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement outlined the vital role the administrative officers play in facilitating daily government function and service delivery at the grassroots level.
You have met the reform. This uniform is a part of the reform. These administrators, they are the one facilitate the work. Without them, there is no system of the government.
Echoing similar sentiments, Dr. Saman Sharior, Unity State Advisor for Legal Affairs, said administrative officers form the backbone of the state's governance system, adding that their contribution extends beyond Unity State to the national level.
السياسي ممكن يلخبط، السياسي ممكن يخبط، لأنه بيشيله برا يوكي، لكن ده بالدار قاعد بيمسك الإدارة بكل قلبه. عشان كده أنا داير أقول لكم أنتوا رغم الظروف أنتوا عيشتوا في أيام بتاع حرب، رغم المعاناة أنتوا عيشتوا في أيام بتاع حرب، زمن جاء إنه تشتغلوا مع سعادة حاكم، تشتغل ترجعوا النظام، ترجعوا السيستم في محل بتاعه.
سيد الحاكم أنا بقول لك شكرا. سيد الحاكم أنت بالفعل أنت رجل السلام، أنت رجل التنمية، أنت ابن هذه البلد، لأنه أنت الحاجات اللي بتعمل فيهم هسه
In another development, the Unity State Council of Ministers held an extraordinary meeting this week to plan for the upcoming 14th anniversary of South Sudan's independence, scheduled for 9 July. During the meeting, Governor Beam appointed several committees tasked with organizing and overseeing the state's celebration of this historic national event. Speaking to the media after the meeting, State Minister of Information Katwich Bipal confirming the formation of the organizing committees and outlining the state's commitment to ensuring a meaningful and inclusive celebration.
The state government have formed the committee that will arrange the celebration of 9 July this year. This is the first of its kind after peace signed since 2018. All committee are formed. His Excellency the Governor has already informed the people of Unity State, in particular and South Sudanese in general, to come out on 9th of July 2025 to celebrate the Independence Day of our Republic.
Edgar Gaga Michael, SSBC, Unity State, Bentiu.
Crossing over to Warrap State capital Kwajuk, hope and anticipation for improved security and services are running high among communities long disadvantaged by persistent conflict triggered by cattle raiding and revenge killing. Governor Bolwek Agoth has now set foot in the state to implement the 6-month state of emergency. SSBC Yul Anthony report from Kwajuk Freedom Square, crowded by a wave of peace supporters.
In a jubilant and positive atmosphere, thousands of people across Warrap State gathered to welcome their new governor, Ambassador Bolwek Agoth, whose leadership is seen as a turning point toward resolving the intercommunal conflict that have hindered development in the region. Governor Agoth arrived to begin enforcement of the 6-month state of emergency, alongside civilian disarmament campaign aimed at restoring laws and orders through the state. Traditional leaders and cultural groups lined the route from the state airstrip to the Kwajuk State Secretariat in honor of the governor's arrival.
The government interest in peace is motivated by desire to see progress in Warrap State. Peace dividends are enormous. Peace will allow us to invest in economic structures and healthcare as well as in education. It will also promote trade and social cohesion that citizens can move and work freely without fear of being killed by anyone. It is only peace that will allow us to develop our state and our communities. My focus now is restoring peace and security in the coming weeks.
Albino Kolatak, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, and emphasized cooperation as essential to achieving the state peace agenda.
We are coming here to disseminate the declared state of emergency. These two reasons are behind our decision to leave our own work here in Juba, just simply to get a chance to talk to all of you.
Deputy Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Joseph Mobior Malik, encouraged the governor to uphold and impose the laws to deliver justice to the people of Warrap State.
Let us respect law and order. Tan Sambalo, the state of emergency, Bemasulia Kamil, Larufik Sultan, Adole Governor, Wadole Jamarian, Sulta Beno, Mafi long process. Limit.
Former Minister of Petroleum Ezekiel Lulgat Kwok urged the people of Warrap to unite and become a model of peace for other communities across the country.
We must reconcile as Dinka and Noor
so that we move this country forward. And we must reconcile together with Equatorians, with the Cholo, with Bari and Mahdi, and South Sudan must be united under one leadership.
Former presidential advisor Tordeng Mayuen appealed to the public to respect the laws and support President Kiir peace efforts.
يشوف مشاكل الدولة لأن الدولة بتاعنا بتواجه تحديات كثيرة جدا وما ممكن يجي يشتغل ويكون منشغل كل يوم عشان مشاكل بتاع الأهل.
The presence of senior government officials, chief, women and youth at the rally brought a renewal hope to civilians eager for the restoration of lasting peace across the state. Yoel Anthony, SSBC News, Kwajok, Warrap State.
Western Equatoria State Legislative Assembly has reopened with a call to end tribalism and discrimination for the state to prosper. Acting Governor Daniel Badabu Ribasa addressed the opening ceremony in the capital, Yambio. Meriaton has more on the story.
Members in Western Equatoria State Legislative Assembly conversed at the house in Yambio to celebrate its reopening after recess. Addressing the opening sessions, the acting state governor Daniel Badabu Ribasa says the state government will work to equip the youth through community programs. He encourages annual cultural festival for promoting peace and unity in the state.
With the heartfelt humility and a profound responsibility, I stand before this August Assembly to present the official policy statement for the fiscal year 2025-2026. I thank the Almighty God for bringing us this far and acknowledge the sacrifices of the people of this great state who have maintained resilience, hopeful and committed to rebuilding Western Equatoria despite the adversity that we have gone through.
The House Speaker Ukila Charles explained the oversight role of the House in fixing challenges restraining work performance in the state. She emphasizes accountability and transparency in the House business.
We consider the Assembly leadership in mobility distribution, maintain the Deputy Speaker's vehicle, pay the annual enrollment allowance and medical allowance which is granted by law, at least one minibus for the Assembly to transport members of this House during government official function.
Wanga Emmanuel, Western Equatoria State Civil Society Chairperson, says all have to adopt democratic system for elections in December 2026 to guarantee democratic governance for better and more efficient development. He calls upon the state government to maintain peace and stable security in the region for the people to coexist peacefully.
Today we are calling on the parliamentarians to pass laws and policies that will support peace to prevail in Tombra. We want to see that government is able to procure medicines. Government is able to do some key services for the welfare of the people in the state.
Santina, a member in the State Argos House, appreciates the state government for reopening the State Legislative Assembly to guarantee the legislative and executive arms work jointly to deliver basic services.
We are so grateful and honored. Thank you very much for this step being taken. The reopening of the Assembly is a flashlight where there is darkness. It's a reflection. It's an eye-opening to the community, to Western Equatoria State.
Western Equatoria State Legislative Assembly has reopened on 1st July 2025 after being on recess since late 2024. Reporting for SSBC News, Mary Atong Akesh.
Al-Sabah Children's Hospital, administered by Central Equatoria State Ministry of Health, plays a significant role in catering for children who are ill. SSBC Mary Atong visited the hospital to gather information on common diseases among children and on how parents and health workers are coping with children's health problems. The report.
A child mother Sunday, Riek, is admitted to Al-Sabah Children's Hospital with her child suffering from poor health. The child is diagnosed and found to be anemia. Doctors prescribe drugs for remedying the ill health. Financial constraint, Sunday can hardly afford to buy the drugs for her baby, and pediatric medical supplies are expensive.
Under Musada, Elena, Lohumbak the reside one. Be adwe mun yek der side wanna be hajata kulu mun yek der side wanna be mel bita num mande na mushkila hajada ya gita banna shedid hini aktar min kida lano dawa da muhim ya hajal jibna hina dawa si dawa ya jibanna hini lo mafi ma fi haja bijibanna hini.
Betty Achan, a medical doctor at Al-Sabah Children's Hospital, says doctors are ethically born to attend promptly to children admitted in the hospital.
For last month, we had 270 children admitted for the first time. And this is a peak time whereby people don't have food, they don't have money, everyone is here. But the message I will tell the mothers is that jana ayan alago mustashfa. Tama bijibu jana fi akhir zaman de go jana biga taban wa fi nafsa zaman ta mind haja alta bisado majana. Takana ino nuswande kulu de nasal jwa Juba lakini mabega jibu jana fi mustashfa Bedri. Wakanja mashakil. We are fought, everyone is fought here, they cannot afford, they don't have money. Some children die, the death rate is high. We are asking those who are at the parliament level. Nobody is coming to see what is happening here. Even at Go's level, we have our directors there. They should come and see what is happening. Now it's coming to rain. Where are the mothers going to sit? It is coming to rain. We don't have room for them. Let them come and see what we are doing, and then we share together.
Dr. Piol Maror, a senior doctor at the hospital, says poor feeding exposes children and adults to health hazards. He advises mothers to feed their children well.
Our message to the population actually is very brief. We would love to tell them that there are causes that we can address. One is to have a breastfeeding after 6 months because it prevents your child from developing malnutrition. Second, use the little thing that you have in your hand to feed your child well. Why I say so? Because there are people that have very small amount of money, but they buy wrong food to the child, and the child end up not being well fed, and the child end up to be what? Malnourished.
Dr. Wilma Ada Staley, director of the Statistics Department, says the numbers of the children admitted in the hospital keep increasing every month. She displays statistical information for the period January through May 2025.
Trikutas in the sun, Yagi Saka Juba. Who soak the Itabilgosuno, most of them women. Yana asa zol biga mage kutu bala fisuno fi bed asana kana geni fi bed ya ma bagdara akol ogu kutu bala kul fi soup sala jana ayan o ma be kutu bala fogo o derta soup de buruze kana kala o bala gusuno jana fi bed o jana ge jakul maybe sata mana ma satisa.
Statistical records in the hospital for the period are scary. There were 27,452 outpatients patients, 17,627 inpatients, 9,545 admissions, 318 refer-in cases, 311 deaths. And reporting for SSBC News, Mary Atomangwena Kech, Al-Sabah Children's Hospital, Juba.
In a bid to strengthen peace effort within religious institutions, the Presbyterian Church of South Sudan, in cooperation with Mission 21, engaged more than 40 church members in a peace dialogue training aimed at promoting meaningful peace within their respective chapels.
Playing a vital role in fostering national peace and long stability, the Presbyterian Church initiated a one-day program that brought together 40 church leaders and members from various chapels for in-depth discussion on peace dialogue. The initiatives align with government's ongoing efforts to spread messages of peace, unity, and reconciliation across the country. Addressing the participants, Reverend Pastor James Makwechol urged them to embrace peace and forgiveness as a powerful tools for building national unity.
The Republic of South Sudan needs peace, and also it needs spiritual healing. If our people have given their lives to the Lord Jesus Christ, the current crisis we are facing may be mitigated. Always we are fasting and prayers so that God can forgive the people of South Sudan, so that they will enjoy peace, they will have love among themselves.
Vice Moderator Reverend Pastor Michael Kadmading emphasized the church's essential role in helping the government achieve peace, which is critical for improving access to education and healthcare nationwide.
في يوم قاعدين في تدريب عن سلام في وسط بتاع الكنيسة بتاعنا ودولة بتاعنا، لأنه البلد بتاعنا ده بدون سلام ما بنقدر نمشي قدام، ما بكون في تنمية، ما بكون في نهضة هيج مع بعض. عشان كده دور بتاع الكنيسة ده مهم جدا في وقت ده. دايرين نساعد الحكومة بتاعنا عشان يقدر يجيب مع كنيسة عشان يقدر بساعده.
Adieu Simon Mayuat, National Secretary for Women's Work Department, called on South Sudanese families to be the starting point for peace, believing that peace at home can positively influence entire communities.
ونحن دايرين السلام ده يبدأ من يوم الليلة، معك مع عيالك في البيت، مع جارك، ويلا يمشوا كله في ولايات. يعني ما في حاجة بحلنا غير سلام. مشاكل ده ما بودينا قدام. نحن ما لو غير موت 24 ساعة نكمل أجيال ل 200. فايلي نقبل السلام ونجي نقعد مع بعض ومحبة يكون في وسط بتاعنا عشان احنا نقدم دولة بتاعنا.
The program renews hope for collective responsibilities in fostering peace and stability across South Sudan. Reporting for SSBC News, August.
And that story brings us to the end of our news. We thank you for joining us this night. On behalf of the team, I am Akuch Makir. Bye-bye for now and enjoy the rest of the programs coming up.